Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev. This is Vrinda from Baltimore. I welcome you all to today's session. Today, Maharaj will continue on the glories of the Lord Narasimha Dev. We had a beautiful session on Monday on the glories of Lord Narasimha Dev with a reference of Bhagavatam verse, which is a powerful prayer of Narasimha Dev. So today Maharaj will continue enlightening us on the same topic. So Maharaj, I request you to please take over the call. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, and it's the following verse, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, verse number 9.
Okay, Maharaj, I will just share the verse on the screen. I'm just trying to share it, Maharaj. Please give me a minute.
Okay. This verse is also spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Svadastu Vishwas Kalo Prasidatim Datam Dayantu Bhutani Shivam Mitodiya Manascha Badram Bhajatad Ahoksajay Avesyatam No Matir Apya Haikuti Haituki. Translation: May there be good fortune throughout the universe. May all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga, or by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendent Lord Shri Krishna and always remain absorbed in thoughts of Him. The following verse describes a Vaishnava, Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Just like a desire tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill all the desires of anyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities, the gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of mischievous persons like his father, Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for anything for himself. Rather, he prayed for the Lord to excuse his demoniac father. This is the attitude of Vaishnava, who always thinks of the welfare of the entire universe. Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Dharma meant for persons who are completely freed from envy. Parama Nirmatsaranam. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays in this verse, Kala Prasidatam. May all envious persons be pacified. This material world is full of envious persons. If one frees himself of envy, he becomes liberal in the social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manascha Badram Bhajate Rahoksajay. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Nrsimhadev to sit in our hearts. We should pray Bahir Nisimho Hridaye Nisimha. Let Lord Nrsingadev sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given a very fine purport in this regard. Whenever one offers a prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one always requests some benediction from him. Even pure Nishkama devotees pray for some benedictions, as instructed by Lord Sri Chaitanya in his Shikshastika. Aye nanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam budo vibayata vapada pankaja stitaduli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servant, and somehow I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this place of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Let's go back to the top again. And we'll start again. Just like a desire tree, no, not the translation, the purport. Just like a desire tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill the desires of everyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities, the gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. So here is the quality of a Vaishnava, a real Vaishnava. He is not interested in his own welfare because he knows Krishna is always taking care of him. He doesn't have to worry. He knows Krishna is always there. And so his only concern is for the welfare of others. This prayer, as recited, we recite quite often, Vanchakopa Tarubhischa, Vipasindhave Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha, is meant for us to really appreciate, honor, and glorify the great souls who simply live for the benefit of others. This Prahlad Maharaj is such a person. Although his father, as it says here, he thought of the welfare of his mischievous father, he didn't ask for himself. He wanted the Lord to excuse his father. His father was quite avaricious and envious. He had taken the entire realm of the material energy for his own control, all the way up to the higher planets, including the throne of Lord Indra. And he thought he was powerful and happy. And so this was something that this powerful person, he was powerful, no question about it. Of course, his power was material, and his power was based on his benedictions that he received, that no one could kill him. And at one point, he tried to even kill his own son, Prahlad. But Prahlad didn't think of that after the Lord killed him. He said, please excuse my father. This is very hard for one to understand, that when someone wants to do harm to you, someone is causing you difficulty in life, you don't think of their good welfare. Sometimes you think, boy, they should get punished for what they're doing. But not Prahlad, not only because he was his father, but because this is his nature of a great soul. He doesn't take personal offense, even if someone, even his own father, which is quite abominable that a father would even try to kill their own son. And even the son had no reason to be harmed because he was simply a devotee of the Lord. He never harmed anyone, and he was always trying to help his father understand where his father can find real happiness. But still, his father was a demon, and demons cannot understand good instructions. It says if you give milk to a snake, milk is a very nice food, nutritious. But if you go give it to a snake, he will turn that into poison and will increase his own poison when he drinks it. So that is the nature of an envious person. They cannot be pacified by reason. But the Lord, wanting to protect his devotees, came, and now Prahlad is praying for the welfare of his father. Prabhupada goes on to say, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Dharma, the activities of Srimad Bhagavatam, are meant for persons who are completely freed from envy. Prahlad Maharaj prayed in that way. He didn't say just his father, he said all envious persons, may they be pacified. Let them become liberal in their dealings with others. Let them think of the welfare of others. Prabhupada goes on to say, anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and cleanses their heart and mind, manastya bhadram bhajate ahok sajay. Therefore, Prabhupada gives the formula that we should endeavor to clean our mind of the dirt of material existence. What is that dirt? It comes in 6 forms, actually 7, but 6 are prominent. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy. And the 7th is fear. These are called enemies of the soul, and they kill or cover the good qualities of the soul. So as long as the living entity is afflicted and affected by such propensities to some degree or other, they cannot think of the benefit of others because they're always trying to satisfy their own selfish desires. So these qualities are foreign to the soul. Therefore, here Prabhupada says we should pray, Bahir Nishimho Hridaye Nishimho. Let Lord Nrsingadev sit within the core of my heart and kill all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean so that I might peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the world. A pure devotee of the world can save the entire world. It only takes one pure devotee. Where you see what just one person, Srila Prabhupada, has done. He did in 11 short years. He practically, and the fact that he is no longer with us, his words, his teachings, and his personal appearance, although not manifested, is still with us in the spirit of his devotees. And therefore, Prabhupada's mission is continually increasing everywhere. This is the power of the pure devotee. Srila Rupa Goswami, he wrote many books. He lived hundreds of years ago, but the process of devotional service that he's teaching is carrying on today, and we follow that very carefully. So a great soul is not subject to time, and his teachings live on forever. So here, a devotee wants to kill all their bad propensities. Bad propensities make a person feel unhappy, but a materialist will think, oh, anger, greed, lust, envy, these are the things that can further my success in gaining power and position and wealth in this material world. So these things become assets for material control, or actually material exploitation. A materialist thinks like that, but a devotee thinks these are enemies of the soul. Therefore, Nrsingadev He has nails. He has teeth that are very powerful. As we read in the previous verse, Rajadamstra, Vajanaka, Vajadamstra, nails and teeth that are very powerful. And they can purify the heart of any living entity who sincerely prays to the Lord for his mercy. And therefore, Prabhupada gives the formula. And now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur goes on to explain, whenever one makes a prayer, even nice kind of devotees, those who are free from material desires, they still ask for a benediction. Lord Chaitanya gives the example. He's praying. I'm falling into this ocean of material birth and death. You can pick me up, no one else. Therefore, I take shelter of you. Give me shelter at your lotus feet. He prays, life after life, kindly let me have unalloyed love and devotion for your lotus feet. Maharaj Prahlad says, he prays for the benediction from the Lord because he is also an exalted devotee of the Lord. He wants nothing for sense gratification. So you see, all the great souls who are free from all material desires, although they make prayers, there is a request. What is his prayer? Swasastu Vishwasya. Let there be good fortune throughout the universe. So a devotee wants everyone to become Krishna conscious. He wants everyone to be free from their bad qualities and enjoy life in devotion to Krishna. That is his desire. That is his prominent desire. And he showed it even to his most envious father. Here, Shanika Pandit says that there are two kinds of entities. One is a snake and one is a man like Hiranyakashipu. Prabhupada goes on to explain in other lectures that a snake somehow could be charmed with herbs and mantras, but an envious man can never be charmed. So they are even more dangerous than the snake. But Prahlad Maharaj doesn't give up on his father. He asks the Lord, please give him your mercy. And by the grace of the Lord, Kalau prasiditam. The difficult that Kalau, envious living entities, are rarely pacified. And Prabhupada goes on to explain just what I just mentioned here, that a living entity a snake can be matro saudi vasat sarpa kalakena nirvaryate. Kalakena. Kalakena means envious person. An envious person cannot be pacified by any means, but a snake can by herbs and mantras. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that all envious people may undergo a change of heart and think of the welfare of others. We have the example that there was a nice, it's called, it's a beautiful story. It goes that one man, he reaches heaven and he's there with the controller of heaven, St. Peter. And so he says to St. Peter, what's it like in hell? So St. Peter says, come on, we'll go. So they go to hell and they arrive and it's time for lunch and everyone sits around this big table and they're all ready to eat. Now all the food's in the middle of the table and everyone has a long fork coming from where they sit to the food in the middle. At one point, the bell rings and everyone is meant to begin eating. And as everyone tries to grab the food with their fork, they drop their fork, they spill the food off. Because when they try to turn the fork around to put it into their mouth, they clash with other persons who are doing the same thing, and no one can eat, and everyone's miserable. So he gets an idea, what is hell like? Then he comes back to heaven, and he asks St. Peter, well, what's it like in heaven? Same situation, everyone's sitting around the table. Food is in the middle. Everyone has long forks. The bell rings, and everyone takes the fork and feeds the person across the way with their fork. And this way, everyone gets to eat nicely and easily. So, thinking of the welfare of others is the nature of a devotee. If a devotee doesn't think of the welfare of others, he can't really practice Krishna consciousness properly, because every living entity is connected with Krishna. Just like it says in the Bible, it's a very nice statement. It says, whatever you do to the least in my kingdom, you do unto me also. Christ said that. So how you treat others is a reflection of our relationship with the Supreme Lord. Therefore, we cannot simply have a relationship with God and neglect or be envious of others. It's not possible, because God is the well-wisher of every living entity, and everyone is dear to him. You can't hate your brother or even despise your brother and expect to serve your father. The Father will not tolerate that. Therefore, it says that in material activities, everyone is envious of others, but in Krishna consciousness, no one is envious of anyone. Everyone thinks of the welfare of others. Prahlad Maharaj prays, may everyone's mind become gentle and free at the lotus feet of the Lord. As it says, Mammana Bhagavad Bhakto Mam Yuji Mam Namaskaru. One should constantly think of the lotus feet of Krishna. Then one's mind will be cleansed. Chaito Darpanam Marjanam. Materialists always think of sense gratification, but Prahlad Maharaj prays that the Lord's mercy will change their mind and will stop thinking of sense gratification. If they think of Krishna, always everything will be all right, because Krishna is the well-wisher and sunam bonum and best friend of all living entities. Therefore, connection with Krishna means connection with each other in a way that is beneficial and it brings happiness to each and every one. And Prabhupada goes on to change that if everyone went back to home, back to Godhead, then the universe would be vacant. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that's impossible, because the living entities are innumerable. If one set of living entities is actually delivered, by the Krishna conscious movement, another set will fill the entire universe. That's when Vasudeva Datta Thakur pleased Lord Chaitanya so deeply, saying that, please give me all of the sinful reactions onto my head and let all the living entities in the universe go back home. Let me suffer in hell for their sins, as long as they can get your mercy and go back to the spiritual world. The Lord was overwhelmed with love and emotion, hearing the sincere and heartfelt prayer of Vasudeva Datta Thakur. But then the Lord said, my dear Vasudeva, even if one universe is vacated, still there are millions of living entities who will come and fill it up again. And look, that's what Lord Chaitanya did. In order to fulfill the desire of Vasudeva Datta Thakur, he took everyone back home, back to Godhead at that time, simply by the prayer of Vasudeva, without allowing Vasudeva to have to suffer. The Lord was so moved by his prayer. But then again, there are always living entities who want to enjoy this material world. That's why it says the material world is eternal. The manifestations of the material world are temporary, but the principle of eternal material existence is a fact. It goes on perpetually. Bhutva bhutva paliyate, created and annihilated over and over again. So this is a beautiful prayer. It is the compassionate heart of a pure devotee. It is the nature of one who has love for Krishna, that they want to express their love by giving others a chance to come to the lotus feet of the Lord. Therefore, they're always praying for the welfare of others. Also, they're always working for the welfare of others. Srila Prabhupada was tireless in his preaching of Krishna consciousness. He didn't stop for a moment. Constantly absorbed in thinking of ways to spread the movement of Krishna consciousness, to write his Bhaktivedanta purports, and to inspire devotees in their Krishna consciousness, to travel all over the world and enlighten devotees in transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada was tireless at an age of 70. And of course, he went not only 70, but he continued all the way up to the age of 81, constantly for 11 full years. He didn't stop, and devotees could not even keep up with Prabhupada. He wasn't motivated by any personal gain. He wasn't thinking, I want to be a popular, guru, so the religious books will honor me so nicely after I leave. No, he was never thinking like that. He was always thinking, how much can we spread this Krishna consciousness and bring as many souls back to Godhead as possible? That was Srila Prabhupada, completely selfless and completely empowered with transcendental knowledge to awaken Krishna consciousness in the fallen conditioned souls. And the results are here we are today. That is Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is an expression of the compassion of Prahlad Maharaj. Srila Haridas Thakur is also has that same element. He is the compassion of Prahlad Maharaj. Okay, we'll stop there and see if there's any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for this beautiful session, for explaining again another prayer for Lord Narasimha Dev. I request devotees, if there are any questions, comments, realizations, please go ahead. I see Devananda Pandit Prabhuji has raised his hand. So Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you, glories to Srila Prabhupada. The question is, you told about Vasudeva Datta Thakur, and you often told us about the story about Vasudeva the leper. Are Vasudeva Datta and Vasudeva the leper the same person, or they are different people? Thank you.
Yeah, they're two different persons.
Two different persons. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, one was a leopard and the other one was an associate of Lord Chaitanya. Both got the mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
Thank you.
One is Vasudev and the other one is Vasudev Datta Thakur.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah. Is there anyone else who would like to ask any question or share any realization? Please go ahead. Maharaj, I have one clarification. I want to make an understanding more clear about this. So you mentioned, actually it was a very powerful statement for me. You mentioned that if a devotee is not really thinking of the welfare of others, he will not be able to practice Krishna consciousness properly. So
yeah. That's even a feature of human life. So even in the material world, if a person is not thinking for the benefit of others, then Prabhupada said they're no better than an animal. Animal can't think of the welfare of others. He said human life is paropaka. The word is paropaka, means to do good to others. That is the feature of the human form of life. That is a quality of an actual human being, is to think of the benefit of another person. That's done in the material world, but in Krishna consciousness, it's done by thinking how to help others become Krishna conscious also. By planning like that, by acting like that. Yeah.
So it is. So does it mean that it is not as beneficial as practicing Krishna consciousness just for oneself, like chanting and doing our own sadhana at home? We have to also spread it. That will be more beneficial.
That's our movement. That's Prabhupada's movement. There are two things called Ghostanandi and Bhajananandi. Ghostanandi is one who's only interested in their own bhajan. Ghostanandi is one who is interested in preaching Krishna consciousness or spreading Krishna consciousness. A Bhajananandi is one who's interested in their own bhajan, their own development. So our movement is based on the principle of Ghostanandi. Yeah. We actively try to spread this movement more and more, because that's Lord Chaitanya's desire also. He wants everyone to become Krishna conscious. And as devotees of Lord Chaitanya, we want to satisfy Lord Chaitanya by assisting him in spreading his mission.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj, for explaining this. Thank you. So Kanchanabja Prabhuji has raised his hand. Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to your lotus feet. Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Maharaj, just hearing your comment, I've got a basic question, and I'll give you a bit of context. I was going on Saturday night Harinams in central London quite regularly. And then every Sunday morning, because I'd be so tired on Saturday night, every Sunday morning I'd end up waking up late, and then I have so many duties with my children, and then my sadhana would be all over the place on Sunday. I'd be feeling irritable because my rounds are all over the place, and then I stopped going to Saturday night Harinam in the last couple of months, and I'm more peaceful. I feel like I'm missing going on Harinam because I'm giving Krishna to others, but at the same time, it just feels more peaceful. And I'm just kind of wondering how to balance this giving Krishna to others when it makes us maybe less peaceful. And maybe it's my consciousness or the way I don't know what it is, but I just thought maybe you could shed some light on that.
Well, it says that in our efforts to give Krishna consciousness to others, we shouldn't go down. But at the same time, there is a question of sacrifice, because to preach in this age means to make sacrifice. And Harinam is the Yuga Dharma. So it's a sacrifice. You should be prepared for the results if you're feeling. You might think about how to do it in another way where you don't have to stay up so late and then go to bed late and be tired. But to give it up, I mean, unless you took some, you might think, well, maybe I can show my compassionate concern for living entities by doing some other program. So yeah, you can think like that. It's not that everyone has to do the same program. We have to see where we can fit in. So yeah, we don't want to. Prabhupada warned us against that, because there was devotees in the old days, and it was quite common. Devotees would work hard for so many days, preaching, traveling, sacrificing everything. And then after that, for 3 days, they couldn't do anything because they were so tired. Prabhupada said, not like that. We shouldn't go down. Therefore, we should stay steady in our practice of devotional service. So therefore, you have to see what you can do nicely and at the same time effectively.
Okay.
And that means knowing yourself, experimenting with different programs, adjusting this way and that way.
Okay. And in terms of Maharaj making the sacrifice, if it was that the Sunday, I mean, I'll chant my 16 rounds, but they'll be a bit all over the place, maybe a little inattentive, but I really have the desire on Saturday night just to go out there and do Harinam and give Krishna to others and take my kids on Harinam. Do Krishna understand? Do Guru and Gauranga?
Yeah. Maybe practically speaking, instead of get up a little later on Sunday morning, get some extra rest.
Okay.
Or what you could do is just chant when you're rested. You have to see. There's an old adage that says, know thyself. That means know what you need to do to become Krishna conscious.
Okay, thank you so much.
I think the way you speak, it seems like you really find great satisfaction and happiness in doing Harinam.
Yeah.
So maybe what you could do is, before you go to Harinam, take some rest on that day. And when you're out there, you're not so tired.
That's a good idea. I'll give that a go, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Good to see you. We're missing your association.
Oh, Maharaj, I'm missing you so much. I wish I could explain how much, but yeah, the heart is really, really yearning your association. Hare Krishna.
We'll meet again very soon, hopefully, in the middle of June.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sudha Mataji has raised hand. Before that, I would request devotees, if you all can please turn on your videos, that would be nice. Sudha Mataji, please go ahead.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for the very nice class today. So many things that I need to learn. So Guru Maharaj, my question is about, it's a very simple, basic question, but I have struggled with this. So how to be neutral okay, I'm sorry. Is my voice okay, Guru Maharaj? So how to be neutral? How to be neutral and like a deal in a Krishna conscious way when someone really hurts your feelings?
I missed the last sentence. How to be neutral? What after that?
How to be neutral and deal in a Krishna conscious way when someone really hurts your feelings. Definitely we are praying for them, but still like it disturbs us when we are chanting, when we are doing our devotional service. So how to handle those situations?
The world is full of disturbances. We get disturbances from our body, we get disturbances from our mind, we get disturbances from others, we get disturbances from the weather, from the environment. And the world is made, it's called klesha. Klesha means miseries. So therefore, Krishna says, Marta sparsas tu kuntaya sitnosna sukadukada agapayano nityas tamste fiksha. He said, tolerate him. Learn how to tolerate. You have to see the situation and how to respond to it. But if we don't practice tolerance, we won't be able to even understand how to respond to a situation. There's when I was a little kid, we used to sing this little jingle. Sticks and stones can break my bones, but names can never hurt me. So when somebody calls you a name, it can't hurt you, really. It hurts the false ego, like that. When Gopal Chapala wanted to defame Srivas Thakur, he figured out a way. And when Srivas Thakur was sleeping at night, he put all kinds of paraphernalia for worshiping Durga on Srivas Thakur's doorstep. Nishiga Thakur is a Vaishnava, a Durga worshiper. So when he came out, he said, oh, he called all the people, he said, now you know what I'm like. Of course, no one believed him. He never took offense and didn't even try to defend himself either. I mean, this is a great Vaishnava. But Lord Chaitanya didn't tolerate, and Gopal Chapala came down with leprosy for offending Srivas Thakur. But Srivas Thakur wasn't the slightest bit disturbed. So we have to learn how to not to be disturbed by what happens to us. We simply have to take shelter of Krishna and practice tolerance. So.
Thank you so much. I heard that last time from you before also. Thank you so much. It really inspires me, and definitely I need to learn the tolerance. Yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, tolerance is a feature by which in order to live in this world, we have to practice. It's there all the time.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sudha Mataji, for that question. I see Kanchanapcha Prabhuji has raised hand again. Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, if I may, I just wanted to ask another question. Regarding the different anarthas like envy that we were discussing, we often hear that when we are feeling envious towards another devotee, that we should try and serve the devotee and try and appreciate that devotee. I was just wondering, Maharaj, if we feel that someone is showing envy towards us, even though we're so insignificant, but sometimes that may happen, how should we navigate that type of situation if it's coming from a close friend or someone apparently close to us?
Well, if it's someone you can't get away from, someone is a part of your life in a regular day-to-day affair, then you have to somehow or other ameliorate the situation. So you may also question the person, why do they feel like that? Instead of defending yourself, inquiry, why are you feeling this negativity or this envy towards me? What is it about me that it's causing you to feel like that? If they're close to you, if they're not so close to you, generally we just distance ourselves from that person.
Okay. So if they're a close friend, is it better to have some sort of conversation or maybe just gradually distance ourselves?
If you value that friendship, I would say yes, yeah. If you value that relationship, yes, because it's not helping them either. In fact, it's hurting them more than it's hurting you.
Yeah, I think so, because whenever I feel envious of someone else, it's me that's feeling the pain, not the other person.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes the other person doesn't even know. But I'm just, yeah.
But if it's close and it's obvious, then there should be some communication to overshadow this negativity. A lot of times it may be just a misunderstanding.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Continue. I'm still here. I'm just going to disappear from view for a second here.
Raj Prabhu has raised hand. Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all of the Vaishnavas. Maharaj, you were talking earlier about tolerance. My question is, how does one know when they should tolerate and when they should get out of the situation?
Requires some intelligence to discriminate between the two and act accordingly. Reflecting on the situation and see. There's not one way to act in any situation, especially when it's interpersonal relationships. Therefore, it takes a little bit of reflection, understanding, personal, what do you call it? Introspective. It's not something you can just, you can't just write it on a piece of paper and say, this is the way I'm going to act. It doesn't work. And ultimately, the principle is to use your intelligence and also pray to Krishna to help you understand how to act or not act.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
You have to see what is the severity of the situation. Sometimes you just let things go, and sometimes by letting things go, it gets worse. You have to see. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. So are there any more questions, comments, realizations from any devotees? Okay.
There was something in the chat, right?
That was a, yes, Maharaj, I will read it for you. That is a comment from Rishabha Prabhuji. He says, great point that demons are using the envy, greed, and pride to enhance their material plans. Very sad. He says, he just shares this comment on the chat, Maharaj.
Yeah, it's sad for everyone. It affects everyone. Each person is an entity where they can bring about something good or they can make something worse. We all put out energy one way or the other.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I have a question. So in a congregation, usually the leaders discriminate among devotees, like who can do what service and in that context and how to treat them like that. So, but suppose if that discrimination is hurting you, if you don't like it, or you are capable of doing much more things, but you are not given that much recognition in the congregation. In that situation, how do we have to behave, Guru Maharaj?
Just go and ask for some service. Hey, is there any service I can do?
Yeah, for example, what happened with me is they gave service of dealing with kids and give kids classes, all that, but I'm not used to that, and I wanted more outreach and preaching this type of services. So I told him that Prabhu also, but he didn't encourage me in that part. Rather, he kept silent and he didn't tell anything to me. Because I'm unable to, I tried once to handle kids, that two small kids. So it's not my job. I realized I'm very bad in that. So that's what I thought.
That's a particular skill that not everyone has.
Yeah.
And that's a very, it's a very important service, because if it's not done right,
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Could cause more problems than the problems already. So yeah, if you can refuse a service based on you feel like you just can't do it properly, especially when it comes to working with others. But then again, you have to take up some service. So if they don't want to give you any service, then you can think of what you can do.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. So, so it is all like when we ask, so is that the only way, Guru Maharaj, like to approach them about this discrimination, like asking about service?
Well, you just have to communicate, yeah.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Yeah.
But how you communicate will make the difference, whether you demand.
Yeah.
That will be another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Krishna doesn't say you have to serve him in this way. especially for grihastas. If you're living in the temple, then you have to follow the instructions of the authorities there. If you're living outside of the temple, then you can figure out different ways where you can contribute to the service of the temple or to the yatra in some form or another. You're more independent in choosing how you can use your time.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Even I approached temple president's wife to give any service to me. So she said, definitely you can come and do some service here. So, but as I'm going to India, so after coming back from India, so I'm planning to start some service in the temple to Guru Maharaj weekly basis.
Yeah, nice, yeah. Temple president's wife is more powerful than the temple president. No doubt.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so I have a phone call I have to make right now that needs to be done. So we have to end right on the hour, which is now. So we thank you very much for your participation, and I hope this verse is one of the more glorious verses in the Bhagavatam. It really is powerful. It shows the heart of a pure devotee and the prayer that they make in order to show concern and compassion to others. Very powerful prayer. This is a famous verse. Devotees love to speak on this verse. It's so right to the core of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, definitely, Maharaj. These are very powerful prayers. And thank you so much for explaining those to us. Thank you for this series of verses. Maharaj, can I just in a minute announce about the retreat?
Yeah, I can leave, but you can, devotees can stay on and they can go ahead and, but I do have to go. I do have to go because it involves another person and I want to make sure I don't interfere with their timetable. So go ahead, devotees can listen to your announcement.
Sure, Maharaj. I have one more announcement for tomorrow's verse. Tomorrow's class is with ISKCON Harrisburg, and the verse would be Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 2.20.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Okay, my obeisances to all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
your
very
time
much.
and explanation.
Thank you,
Hari Hari Hari.
Thank you. So, dear devotees, I would just like to announce about the UK retreat, which will take place from June 24 to 27, and which is for disciples, aspiring, and the well-wishers. If people are interested, they can email on cmsretreat22@gmail.com. The registrations will be open until the end of this month. And the theme of the retreat would be Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto. So there will be also guest speakers, Chitti Shakti Devidasi and Bhuta Bhavana Das. So this is a great opportunity to take association of all the devotees and also Maharaj. So you all can go ahead and please register yourselves. And with this note, I would like to pay my obeisances to all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj ki jai. Thank you all devotees for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Vrinda. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Mataji, please stop live stream.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.